So as we prepare for our next presenters, what I think is so exciting is that they are part of our community here as well, and they are the next generation, I would say, of those who are going to be helping us out. Just calling up their intro. Give me just a second here. We're almost there. This is when you tap dance, do some jazz hands. I'm not a dancer, as anybody in here can attest to who knows me. I'm actually really klutzy, so probably a bad idea, which is good because we are just about ready with a little teleprompter. And here we are. So we're back. So you may have heard that the next time you get a takeout order here in Westchester County could be a little bit different. If you want single-use, disposable utensils or maybe a condiment packet, you're going to have to ask for it. So there was a law passed, it was passed and it was signed into law that says you can no longer just automatically fill that bag with all of the packets of silverware and condiments and napkins that they can shove in there. Also, these single-use beverage stirrers, those splash sticks, those are no longer permitted in Westchester County either. In fact, if you want a single-use foodware item, you can ask for it, but they just need to give you only the fork, not the plastic package with the fork and the spoon and the napkin. And this is all part of cutting down waste by providing those individually. And these are efforts that had a lot of big help from students right here at Mamaroneck High School, because as we know, these local changes have widespread impact. Two of the voices who helped to lobby for this new law, part of that action that they took was helping to get other towns in the area to sign on. Well, they're with us today. MHS seniors Marion Karp and Larissa Bertini are members of the original Civic Research and Action program here at MHS, what we all know, of course, is OCRA. They're also co-founders of Students for Sustainable Solutions, and they're going to tell you more about this really important work that they're doing. So please welcome Marion and Larissa.
Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests in the audience, I'm here today to draw your attention to a problem plaguing our daily lives: plastic. As we all know, plastic is a commonly used material. We use it from everything from food packaging to clothing. But it is becoming more and more evident the cost it has on our environment. Did you know that it can take up to 1,000 years for plastic to degrade into our environment? In fact, it is estimated that there will be more plastic in the ocean than fish by the year 2050. But what exactly is plastic, and why is it so harmful? Plastic is a synthetic material made from a variety of chemical compounds. It was invented in the early 20th century and has since become one of the most ubiquitous materials on the planet. However, the very properties that make it so useful, its durability, strength, and resistance to degradation, also make it a major environmental hazard. When plastic is discarded into landfills or in the natural environment, it can take hundreds of years to break down. As it does so, it releases harmful chemicals and microplastics that can contaminate our soil and water, harm wildlife, and even enter the food chain. Plastic waste is also a major contributor to climate change, as it is often produced using fossil fuels and requires significant amount of energy to manufacture and transport. For the past 3.5 years, I and two classmates, one of whom you will hear from this evening, and one of whom unfortunately cannot be here, have taken a unique class called Original Civic Research and Action, a program designed to teach us to study and advocate for changes in policies that we want to see happen. For our OCRA project, my classmates Katherine Loga, Marion Karp, and I knew we wanted to do something pertaining to the environment, and more specifically, taking on the urgent problem facing not just our community is facing, but the entire world, specifically plastic pollution. We decided to take on the fight against the plastic problem because we believe there are feasible solutions that would benefit our coastal community. In the initial stages of our project, we studied the harms of plastic and came to learn that only 9% of plastic is recycled, and the rest ends up in landfills or in the ocean. Plastic pollution is very harmful not only to the organisms in the water, but also to humans, who end up consuming a credit card's worth of microplastics per week as a result from the plastics breaking down. Plastic pollution also imposes significant costs on local communities and economies. For example, plastic waste can clog drainage systems, causing flooding and damage to infrastructure. As we studied plastic, our journey led us to create a toolbox of change to impose success and practice civic activism. Today, we are going to be sharing the tricks of the trade with you. Any impactful project stems from knowledge. We knew we needed to have a significant foundation of knowledge to embark on the journey, so that's where we began. In order to make effective change in our community, we began by looking towards communities near and far that had done what we were aiming to do. We studied communities such as Westport, Connecticut, and as far away as Aruba and Hawaii, where they were able to successfully pass laws either restricting or fully banning single-use plastics. We were able to meet with representatives from Westport who helped to pass an ordinance with required food service businesses to transition from disposable plastic food serviceware to compostable and recyclable materials. Similarly, in Aruba, they have fully banned single-use plastics. Our mentor, Michael Gottfried, is a paper distributor in Aruba. So he was able to give us firsthand insight on how policy can change day-to-day operations and the positive changes he was able to see in the ecosystems in Aruba. To facilitate change, the representatives from Westport, Connecticut encouraged us to work closely with business owners and gain an inside look into how they deal with plastic in their day-to-day operations and what change would be possible. Having received all this positive feedback from communities where the laws were successfully passed really helped to motivate us and give us hope in our ability to reduce single-use plastic in our own community. Therefore, we took the advice from the successful communities and began compiling a list of local restaurants to take note in their plastic habits by documenting their various plastic containers. From the 15 restaurants we surveyed, we were able to learn about our community's plastic habits, which was essential to learn because how could we fix a problem without knowing what was actually wrong? What we learned was that the biggest contributor to our community's plastic waste are takeout containers. With this, we were able to outline what the following steps of our project would look like. Marion will now describe in more detail our 1-month-long pilot project through which we set out to prove that change in plastic consumption in our community was feasible and that it would be welcomed by the members of our community.
Thanks to our research phase, specifically the interviews that we conducted with local municipal officials, we knew that to pass legislation or make change at the government level, it would be crucial to prove there is support from both the constituents of our community and the businesses that would be impacted by the changes made. As a result, the pilot project was born, which ran in June of 2022. To summarize, our pilot project consisted of working with 4 local restaurants and switching them away from single-use plastics to completely eco-friendly alternative products. To help the restaurants make this switch, we constructed a database of eco-friendly products that we provided to them, in which we tried to include the most environmentally friendly and cost-effective products. And we realized that restaurants choosing to partake in this initiative wasn't an easy ask, because we know how difficult it is for restaurants to lead the pack and make environmental changes when others are not. So we met with funders, and we were able to offer each of the 4 participating restaurants $500 to cover any additional costs that may have cropped up throughout this process. We also worked with these restaurants to help them implement an upon request only policy, which has become a very important policy in our project, and it is where restaurants offered cutlery, condiments, and napkins in takeout orders only at the request of the customer. Another aspect of this project was the surveys that we created for the purpose of taking the temperature of the community or measuring how they would respond to eco-change. We printed out QR codes and put them around restaurants so that customers could simply scan them with their phone and answer a few questions and provide any feedback they had on their experience. The results from the survey were overwhelmingly positive. Some noteworthy facts that we gathered from the 175 survey takers were that 96% of survey takers said they were willing to pay more to see eco-friendly products in restaurants. And 95% of survey takers said that they supported a targeted ban of the use of plastic plates, utensils, takeout containers, and straws. And 98% of survey takers said the decision of participating restaurants to test eco-policy improved their perception of the restaurants. There was also a place where consumers could leave feedback or comments they had, and we got overwhelmingly positive feedback in that space. One person commented, "I just ate at a participating restaurant, and I was so impressed with the eco-friendly products. It makes me so much more likely to eat there." Another person commented, "I ate at these places for the first time because of this project. Very impressive of these restaurants." Ultimately, through our project, we were able to make residents more familiar with eco-friendly products, promote a more environmentally conscious lifestyle throughout our community, and heighten awareness surrounding plastic pollution, which we were able to do through media campaigns. Our project was featured on News 12, in local newspapers such as the Larchmont Ledger, and on multiple local municipal social media accounts and other various news outlets. So this project wasn't just the end. It was only the beginning, where we moved into our legislative phase. After the conclusion of our pilot project, we met with the owners of the restaurants and conducted interviews with them to come to a full understanding of how the pilot project went from their perspective. The project was positively received from all the owners, but what specifically stood out to us was their appreciation of the upon request only initiative, and understandably so. Only offering cutlery and condiments at the customer's request saves restaurant owners money, as they are giving out less materials and therefore have to purchase those materials on a less frequent basis. These interviews with the restaurant owners promoted us to explore the upon request only policy to see if we could implement it on a broader scale, considering how popular it was for everyone involved. Around this time, we conveniently learned that a version of what we were working on, the upon request only policy, was being crafted into the form of a bill at the county level entitled the Single-Use Foodware Law. This law would require all restaurants in Westchester to only give out materials like utensils, condiments, and beverage stirs at the request of consumers, meaning no more automatically putting these materials in takeout orders. We were intrigued by this news and immediately knew we had to be involved in ensuring this legislation would become law for all of Westchester County. We immediately reached out to legislators Nancy Barr and Erica Pierce to learn about the proposed bill. We ended up consulting to them and offering our vast set of expertise, and we found a copy of this bill and were able to write feedback, comments, and tell them what we liked and what we didn't like. We were able to explore the upon request only policy during the pilot project and therefore offered the real practical experience of it to the legislators. Our meeting was quite meaningful, and we were able to share these thoughts pertaining to the bill and ultimately expand the bill and make it an important piece of legislation that we knew would be impactful for restaurants. After that meeting, we knew it was vital that we could do everything possible to ensure the passage of this law at the county level. So we went out and we presented the work we had done thus far, and we advocated for this legislation in our community. We first went to the Town of Mamaroneck Sustainability Collaborative and the Village of Larchmont Environmental Committee. At these presentations, we asked that the collaborative and the committee would request the passage of a resolution from the Village of Larchmont and the Town of Mamaroneck, respectively. These resolutions passed by the town and the village would vocalize the village and the town's support and thus help pass this bill through the county level. With the help of our mentors and teacher and the county legislators, we were able to indicate vast support for the single-use foodware law at the county level. We met with the Town of Mamaroneck Municipal Board and the Village of Larchmont Municipal Board after meeting with the sustainability committees, and we presented them our findings from the pilot project as well as the support from the various committees. Both municipalities passed unanimous support resolutions vocalizing their support for the single-use foodware law. And we also created a petition from Mamaroneck High School so that students could express their support for the single-use foodware law, as we know that environmental issues are especially pertinent among the youth. We gathered a vast number of signatures, and on March 6th, we went to the public hearing on the single-use foodware law at the Westchester County Courthouse. We made our points on why the law should be passed, highlighting the upon request only bill policy that we implemented during the pilot project. And then we presented our certified resolutions and petition to the Board of County Legislatures. At the conclusion of the public hearing, the legislators voted to pass the single-use foodware law, which was an amazing moment for us. We could feel everything we had spent months working on and all the research we had gathered coming to fruition at the county level, which touches a wide number of towns, residents, and businesses. The threat of plastic pollution and climate change is really a daunting one, but it is not insurmountable. The challenges we face are significant, but so too is our collective power to affect change, as we've learned. The youth of today have a crucial role to play in shaping the future of advocacy for our planet, and youth around the world are taking action to address the problems of plastic pollution and climate change. We must support and amplify their voices and work together across generations to create a more sustainable future. So let us all commit to reducing our use of plastic, recycling whenever possible, and ultimately supporting sustainable alternatives. Let us also demand that our governments and corporations take meaningful action to address the root causes of plastic pollution and climate change. Together, we have the power to make a difference, so let us act with the urgency and determination so that future generations can inherit a world that is healthy, vibrant, and sustainable. Thank you.
When will the law actually be implemented?
That's a great question. So the law was just passed in March, and we're gonna be offering a 6-month grace period to the restaurants, because what we've really learned from this process is that restaurants want to be a part of sustainable practices, but they need time to adjust, and they need some sympathy with their ultimate goals of staying healthy as a business. So we're giving them that 6-month grace period to really find the products that work for them and train their employees, and they have that time. And then after that 6 months, it's expected that they'll have these policies, but then we enter the next 6-month period where our penalties are only kicked in at a halfway basis, which include fines upon offense. So that would be at a lower point for the next 6 months. So after that full year, it'll be in full practice.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. What is the cost difference between a plastic container and the equivalent eco-friendly containers?
It depends which product, but we found for, I believe it was a plastic fork, and for a bamboo fork, it was about 23 cents for one to one. But it depends, and if you're ordering in bulk or if you're ordering individual, it changes per product. Yeah, thank you.